Sometimes it's difficult to have really good outcomes from restoring practice. To gain diversity, natural regeneration can be more efficient, and it has been proved that it's better. But in some contexts, it's hard to get an outcome of the outcome that we are desiring. So mainly the problem is because we are not taking into account the whole complexity of the system, the whole complexity on the forest. And in the forest, animals play an important role, different roles: seed dispersal, herbivory, pollination. So if we want to restore diverse and natural forests, then we need to take into account the whole complexity, and that means including the role of animals in forest restoration. When we think about restoring an area, we normally have a specific area, but we need to be aware that this area is located in a fragmented landscape. So the amount of forest that is surrounding this area may influence if animals can actually contribute or not. Especially in tropical forests, frugivory is quite important because in tropical forests, more than 70% of the trees that are present are dispersed by animals. So we wanted to specifically ask, under which conditions of the forest fragmentation animals can contribute to disperse seeds in the new areas that we are going to restore. Yeah, of course. Poo is super important because with poo comes other elements. For example, in this case, the seeds. It also comes microorganisms that can help also to enrich the soil, and comes nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus that the animals deposit with the poo. So in this case, for example, the poo brings seeds, and then the seeds, when they germinate and grow, they store carbon. So depending on the seeds that comes with each poo, we can store more or less carbon. So we explored this paper in the Atlantic forest because this is an area where we are really familiar with the frugivore process. Through the years, my collaborators and I, we have gathered data on different process involved in the dispersal of seed dispersal in these areas. So we have data on the frugivore interactions. That means which animals eat which fruits. We have data on the movements of the birds in different fragmented landscapes. That means how they are willing to move between one forest to the other forest as soon as the fragmentation level change. And we also have data on how long it takes a seed that is ingested to be defecated. That's called the seed passage time. So by combining frugivore data with movement data in fragmented landscapes and with seed passage time, we were able to model the distribution of the seeds, what we call seed rain, in open areas that are going to be restored. In general, the larger birds are quite important, yeah, but it's a trade-off because some of these larger birds, they don't like to go out of the forest. So it depends how far they have to go. If this is not so far, they can go out. But there are some larger birds that actually can migrate, a small movement between the forest patches. And large birds are quite important because they are the only ones able to disperse large seeds. So these seeds normally comes from late successional trees that will increase the diversity of the forest and also the carbon stock of the forest. Okay, so for example, an important bird in the area is jacutinga. This is the common name, but the scientific names can be Aburria jacutinga or Penelope jacutinga. So this is a big bird, and it's quite important, as I was saying, because it can consume big seeds. And for example, we have a tree that is called Cryptocarya mandiocanna. This is a laurasia. So it is a big tree, really tall, and as it's a laurasia, it has really dense wood that smells wonderful, by the way. So these kind of trees that are big and with dense wood are really important for carbon stock. But without big monkeys or jacutinga, this tree cannot be dispersed so easily. So this is why birds as jacutinga are quite important. However, jacutinga is a forest bird, so she likes more to be inside the forest. Although she can go out, they don't like to be so much in open areas. So depending of the level of fragmentation in the area, we have the contribution of jacutinga or not. Well, the main message is that animals are important contributors to natural regeneration, especially just in areas that has more than 40% of forest cover in the landscape, or that forest patches are in mean 100 meters away from each other. If they are more separated, then we start to lose the contribution of animals. So if we want to promote natural regeneration, we can actually rely on animals more and enhance them, that they move into the landscape in landscapes with more than forest covers, 40% of forest cover. But in the other landscapes, we need actually to do active intervention to restore the forest. Yeah, so there are some management that we can do in the areas. The first thing that we need to consider is that we need to think in restoration, not in the restoration of the area, but also in the restoration of the landscape. So we need to consider corridors and the distribution of the forest patch. That's the first thing. But when we go to the local areas, we can do for example, offering food to the birds, perches with food, so they will come to eat here, and when they come, they will bring elements from the forest. We can also do nucleation areas where we plant trees that are attractive because they produce a lot of fruits for the birds. So the birds will come and fly in this area. So everything that we can offer to them, that they get used to come to the area, they will start to bring more diverse seeds. This project was a first approximation and taking into account the role of birds as seed dispersal. But this is not the only role that animals perform in the system. For example, we have herbivores and we have mammals that are also important seed dispersal. So our next step is actually to include the role of mammals in seed dispersal and also in mycorrhiza dispersal, especially in tropical forests. And also, we need to take into account the other roles that the animals can perform. For example, herbivory is quite an important role because frugivores put the seed at the beginning, but then the plant needs to grow. And then sometimes the herbivores comes and eat that plant. So it's a contrabalance between both of them. So if we have a lot of herbivores in one area, the restoration cannot happen if we don't control this. Also, the role of predators, because predators control the amount of herbivores that we have. So by taking into account all this complexity, we can actually know what is the best strategy to manage animals to improve forest restoration.